Okay, so I'm back with book 46, How to Kill a Monster. And this is one of the earliest ones I remember reading when I first got into the series when I was pretty young. I read it once, the first time when I was like 9, and I read it again when I started reading them regularly when I was about 11 or 12. And since then, I've read it once or twice in the intervening years between then and now, and it's one that I do both like as an adult, and also one of the ones I like most fondly upon nostalgically. Um, but yeah, this one's a pretty interesting one. It's about this girl and her stepbrother who are kind of stuck at their grandparents' house in the middle of a swamp. And they're out in the middle of nowhere in the boonies, and they are exploring this huge old house that their grandparents live in. And they find a room with a monster inside of it, a swamp monster. And they're left there all alone because their grandparents have gone to town to buy stuff. And they're kind of they wake the thing up, and it's essentially a chase story. They're trying to hide throughout the house while the thing is chasing them. The title is a bit misleading because nowhere in it. They try to stop it, but I don't think they go so far as to try to actually kill the thing. So also, just the title is misleading in the sense that it's not a how-to guide. Like nowhere in it is it a character pop up and like this is how you get rid of this thing, or nowhere in it do they figure it out themselves, and the story turns into a how-to guide. So to me, the title's a bit misleading. It could have been called anything else. It could have been called something more appropriately titled, like Alone with the Monster, or which that does sound a lot like a Goosebumps title, or the Swamp Monster, or if you want to get a little more creative with it, you could call it like Monster House. No, it's taken. Can't use Monster House. But the point is, I just feel like it's, false advertising in its title. In that it sounds like something you're not gonna get. And that's something I usually don't think about when I think about books, because most books I feel like have a title that fit the content therein. And I'm not talking about just nonfiction. I'm talking about just novels. And usually a novel will give you an idea in its title of what it's going to be about. Maybe not necessarily its tone. Because if I, like for example, if I say that, talk about the novel Shadowland by Peter Straub, if you don't know who Peter Straub is, that title, it could be tonally about anything. It could be a literary work. It could be a horror story. It could be a family tragedy. However, its tone does fit what it is, Shadowland. So I definitely think that this one could have been titled better, but overall, as a story, I like it. There's not much to talk about in its plot, but I don't dislike it. I like the idea of them being alone in a swamp. I like the setting. This kind of boggy, swampy, middle of nowhere locale. I like that it's kind of a chase story. It's a little different for this series. And also a swamp monster is something that's not really cliche. It hasn't really been done a lot in horror. You have things like Creature from the Black Lagoon, you have Swamp Thing, but really it's kind of something not really talked about and not really media's about. So, yeah, that's really about it. This girl and stepbrother trapped in a house with a monster. It's all you need. No more, no less. But I like the simplicity of that. That's nice and simple. So, yeah, that's about it for my thoughts on that one. So, the next one up will be Legend of the Lost Legend, and maybe I'll have a little more to say on that one. So, until then, see ya.